let's now turn our attention to speaking with those who have their heart right in the center of the ring. One of the youngest presidential aspirants of the APC, Mr. Tein Jack Rich, an oil and gas expert turned politician, joins us tonight on his presidential ambition. Thank you so much, Mr. Jack Rich, for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
You're optimistic about, we don't know who's made the cut, but do you think you made the cut?
I think it's in the hands of God, because I believe strongly that whatever you do, God first. So we're just praying and having our fingers crossed.
How did the screening go for you?
I think it was really tough. I never had it before, but I believe I was able to, state my points clearly, what I can do. And I was able to give a brief historical background of where I'm coming from and what the country really needs, and how my skills can actually help in setting the country on the right trajectory in 2023, considering all the global uncertainties and economic shockwave that we will be dealing with. So I was able to put my intellect forward and how I believe I can, administer, the country.
What gives you the confidence to get into this race? Because you never get into a battle that you think you will lose. You are hoping that you're going to win. What gives you the confidence that you can?
Well, I think basically I believe strongly. I'm sorry, I have to be straightforward. I believe strongly in God, because whatever you do, God first, like I said. And again, I've been able to build, capacity to the point where I can add value to my country, knowing fully well where the country will be in terms of the economy in 2023. Looking at the numbers. And also what the future, has gotten for us as a country in terms of employment, in terms of industrialization, in terms of ensuring that we are able to balance trade and all that. If you look at the numbers of our foreign reserves, you will be scared if you don't have the mic. 2023 will have to overwhelm you. But because I build a strong, business capabilities in terms of how to turn numbers around, I believe strongly that we need a president that can turn the numbers around in 2023 so we can improve on our foreign reserves. Because if you look at the import and export numbers, you will see clearly that we're having a whole bunch of deficit of about 21%, which means, the simple rule of thumb that says at least you must have your reserve being able to, fund your import or trade by at least for 6 months. So if you look at the $67 billion, import consumption, you're going to be scared if you don't have the capacity to deal with the issue. So I believe I can top up our reserves and ensure that I get to that equilibrium.
You think Nigeria is in trouble presently?
Well, I don't want to believe that Nigeria is in trouble, but what I'm saying that we will be in trouble in 2023 if you have the wrong man on the seat.
You also think that the economy has been badly handled?
No, there are certain variables that we must recognize that this administration has been battling with. If you look at the crude oil numbers, the numbers are not meeting up, and that was because of COVID pandemic when OPEC, allocated to member states certain volume they have to produce because the price was going below ground zero. And when you shut in to ramp up production again, requires a lot of money. So if you look at the numbers and the population and all that, in the surging population and our struggle to have the right infrastructure to create the right employment that can mitigate the exposure, the government has really tried its best. But what I'm saying is that 2023 is what I'm talking about, that you need a president that understands the microeconomic dialectics to be able to put in the right mechanism in place to deal with what we will be faced with in 2023. You see the global uncertainties in terms of continental Europe still struggling within the Eastern European bloc. disrupting supply chain and global logistics. So,
and you think to change that around, the best man for the job is yourself?
I believe strongly the best man for the job is Jack Reed, because I understand how to build the numbers. The most important thing is to top up our reserves. Our reserves, if we run with the current trend, we're likely to be around about $38 billion in 2023. So your import must be able to meet up your reserve by at least 6 months.
All right.
That's a simple rule of thumb.
Let's get into some of the details of what you're talking about and the realities and the practicalities of some of the points that you are putting forward. First and foremost, you're pushing that Nigeria will dwell more on the oil and gas to catalyze the economy. That's what one of the ideas they have been pushing. And for those, it's at a point in time that a lot of people are saying we need to look away from oil and gas and look elsewhere. But you are pushing and saying, perhaps because that is your business area, that's your expertise. Is that the reason why you're pushing for that?
No, sir. We need to recognize that we need deep ticket foreign exchange earnings to activate other industrial value chain within the country, so we can at least have that, balance of payment. But oil and gas is a quick win for us. It contributes about 85% of our foreign exchange earnings, which is export goods. So that's a significant element. And again, about 19% of our total import is around the oil and gas petroleum products. So that's about over 5.3 trillion naira goes into that market. So if I can save 5.3 trillion by ensuring that foreign exchange that we look for is taken away and then added to other economic value chain, is going to go a long way. So we need to recognize that all other sectors outside the oil and gas account for about 15% of export goods. So how much can you really realize to procure the right technology and activate other economic engines?
Yeah. So you said that if you become president in 2023, you will push oil production in Nigeria to about 3 million barrels. And people will ask you, is that realistic? I mean, the quota that has been given to Nigeria is not even within that range. Nigeria still oscillates between, just around 2 million per day barrels.
Yeah,
how do you do that?
Thank you. The most important thing we need to recognize that we mustn't export our commodity alone. We must also have the capacity to refine them. So I believe strongly in vertical integration. There are other operators that want to vertically integrate. So if OPEC allocation is 2 million barrels a day, we have 1 million barrels surplus. So what do you do with the 1 million barrels? You activate other economic engines by refining. Not only that, you have large, volume consumption locally, and also within the continent of Africa and in the world. So why can't we refine and export refined products? So that's a lot of money also.
Do we have the capacity to produce 3 million barrels per day?
We will have the capacity to produce 3 million barrels a day, because that's my business. So they are low-hanging fruit. So what you're going to do basically is that you liberalize the sector a little bit, so you can have foreign investment coming in to partner with a lot of the operators and then collaborate with them to increase their yields. Not only that, if you put the right mechanisms in place through strong local participation, you save a lot of the volume that you lose through theft and all this type of stuff. So every operator will be made to contribute his fair share, ensuring that you put all the technological requirement in place so that you produce dry crude. So you don't inject, mixed crude in the pipeline and then you start saying that the crude is stolen. So we have a strategy through our policy framework that will enable all operators operate in a different way.
But you've not told us exactly how you will push production to 3 million barrels per day.
We have our
in practical terms.
Yeah, basically, so you will have to upgrade. So basically, facility upgrade is number one, building new pipelines, number two, and ensuring that the flow stations no longer serve as flow stations, they become production stations.
And how long will it take you to do that?
I mean, all this can be done, I'm telling you, to be very honest, in 18 months, you can put all these stuffs in place.
Nigeria doesn't even have a functional refinery.
Well, that's what I'm saying, that you can vertically integrate. So as soon as you liberalize the sector, there are some operators that want to industrialize so that the full value chain is also realized. So we will ensure as a matter of policy that those that want to vertically integrate, they are brought into the value chain, and what are the incentives that they really require to actually get it done, so that investors can look at it and say, well, this is good, and that they can pump in funding in there so that we can get those sectors activated, so we can save a lot of these foreign exchange earning that is leaving the shores of Nigeria that we should have helped to build our reserves.
One of the other things that you have said is the jobs that you will get Nigerians, and also you've talked about how you will use education and knowledge-based economy to radicalize the Nigerian state. You also spoke about how much of international engagement you will make should you be president. But the question is, there is a nagging problem of insecurity in the land, which is going to discourage a lot of people. Naturally, people say insecurity will not allow FDI. Now, the question is, how would you solve the problem of insecurity? You've said it on this platform that you will activate traditional rulership system in the country. But how do you do that if that is not captured in our laws?
Well, I think both conventional and the non-conventional means will be deployed. I mean, this is for national security, so it's important that you go beyond the boundaries of what you think you can read on the pages of papers. So we will create that ecosystem to bring in all the value chain on board. But again, we have to make sure that we provide the economic stimulus. That's so important, and creating opportunities at the rural areas and getting our traditional rulers really, really empowered so that they become part of the voices that transmits and communicates what I call traditional moral. But again, what use is your moral message when a man or a family cannot provide food on the table? So we will create our stimulus, and that's why it's important for me to move oil production to 3 million barrels a day, so that we can at least put together 5% of whatever we realize from there and spread it across 8,900 wards in the country, so that every local community will have a leadership that will have access to economic enablers. So you take that and preach that pari passu. They have to go hand in hand. Stop this left side of life. It's not going to help us. This is an economic opportunity for you to start your life with.
I was asking about the solution to insecurity. For example, in the northwest region of the country, how would you end banditry?
Well, technology is number one, and it's part of my vision for a prosperous Nigeria is introduction of technology-based, leadership. You're getting technology in. Not only that, you introduce technology, empower our servicemen and women, build a strong defense capability, both hardware and software deployed. But again, having the carrot and the stick approach, I'm sorry to use that word, but again, providing that economic enablers at the very ward level, at the very local level of the local community, so that they say, you know what, this is a new jingle. We don't want to go this left wing of life because opportunity has come to us. So why are you getting involved in kidnapping and banditry when the enablers for you to realize self-dignity is now before your doorstep? So you got to stop that left wing of left side of life and move into the proper, proper behavior that, champions societal wellness.
Should you be left in the arena with the likes, against the likes of Bola Tinubu, Yemi Osinbajo, and Rochas Okorocha and the likes? Do you think that you can get it together?
Well, I believe strongly that what the country is looking for is strategic visionary leadership that is young, they can connect with the, larger generation that are pretty much young today. The population of this country will be 223 million, and the median age is 19. So what is in there for these young guys? So I am a typical example. I'm a success story. I don't have any baggage. I've never been in politics before. I never made any campaign promise to anyone that I've not been able to fulfill. I'm a job creator. I'm a development agent. So the youth resonate strongly with someone like Jack Reed because I'm a job provider, and what they need is job, helping them to realize their goals. So when they graduate from school, they can have jobs. And then again, they are able to go to school, acquire, the right knowledge so they can come out and get the right job. So my interest is basically what the party interest is all about. And I believe that's the interest of Nigerians.
Should you not be piqued because you're understanding there might be a consensus kind of? What would you do?
Well, I'm a party man. So whatever, you heard the governor saying that whatever the president says, they are pretty much in tune. I'm in tune with whatever the party says and whatever the president says. But I believe strongly that 2023 is a unique year. We need a president that can look at the numbers, the job numbers. We need a president that will be able to increase our foreign reserves. We need a president that can enable the critical economic engines that drives our economy that is draining us real hard to be plugged, and then we can have surplus to be able to increase our reserves and then activate other economic engines so that we can grow a profitable economy, provide jobs on the table for our young youth, and also move this country into a realm where we're highly respected by other member states on the continent of Africa.
Mr. Tein, presidential aspirant of the APC, thank you so much indeed for coming tonight. And I wish you the very best in the primary.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much
for coming.
But that's our show for tonight, everyone. Many thanks for watching. I'm Sean Kimale. Bye for now.